believe this is real.
Soon as you get home, call our parents.
No, we're okay. Everything's okay.
We'll be home soon as we find the portal back.
Welcome back to the Tidy of Venger. This is Mike. Today I can finally do the Dungeons & Dragons review I should have done almost 3 weeks ago, but now I got everything in and we can do it, and we've had the issues of the past with Hasbro and their packaging, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get into looking at each one of these. They do look good, but they do have some issues I will point out, and overall this definitely does look right. But you're going to notice I got like a Tiamat in here just for fun, and the Hook Horror. They were actually in the cartoon, so they can display in this world. And so I'm also going to talk about Wave 2 ordering coming up. So we're going to start out with Hank here, and since I've already done the unboxing, I'm really not going to go over the packaging that much, but it's closed box. Watch the unboxing videos to see all of the packaging, but it'll kind of sit back there in the background anyway. You can still sort of see it as we go through him. So first thing I want to say about this guy is that he looks good. Like, he looks the part. I mean, the paint apps are pretty good, and let's see if I can get, yeah, paint apps are good. He looks good. Nice looking figure. The color scheme, everything seems to work. It looks great. Overall, having him on your shelf, you know that's Hank, and you really do feel like you're kind of in the cartoon. And that's exactly what I want with this line, which I'm shocked Hasbro's even doing it. But, you know, I'm not going to ask questions. I'm just going to buy them and be happy and move on down the road. Now, this is the replacement one I got from Hasbro, and so it took two tries here to get one. But here, let me go into the figure, then we'll get into accessories. Now, what I want us to show is the head goes side to side and up, and it's on a bit of a ball joint, and he's on a double, I think it's a double kind of barbell rocker on the head, so he can look way down and he can look up a bit, and people are really destroying these for articulation purposes. So it has some articulation, like the arm goes out to here and it can go up and down. I mean, he is restricted with this whole cover piece, which looks good, like the show. And then I gotta say, be very careful on all of his joints. I heated everything up on every figure, and then I moved him a bit. So when we get to the knees, though, I got problems. So the hands, they're really restricted if you try to go side by side. So really, they just only do this. Although they have a joint in there, I wouldn't advise to do much with the hands because the wrist is restrictive. So getting down here, he has a kind of a ball jointed type of waist, and that's crazy. I'm not going to try to do too much more with that, but it's okay. It gets good articulation, and it looks good. It's very cartoon accurate. So you don't have some crazy, like, midsection messed up. It does look good. And it feels a lot like there's a rubber band in it, but there's no rubber band in it. It's plastic joints, barbell. I like the green. I like the belt. I like the speckles and stuff. And then getting down here, we have the legs. Now, the legs, let's look at the back of them. As you're going to see here, as you move these, the plastic is shearing. It's literally shearing the plastic. I don't know if the joints are too tight, which I think they are, but I have been super careful and heating them, and they're stressing. So this is really bad right here with the knees. Now, he stands, but like, look at all this. Look at all, it's shredding inside of there. It's just shredding off the plastic because it's so tight and rubbing. But, man, that's kind of crazy. But he still looks good, so that's what I care about. Okay, see, these things move. Okay, legs go out to here. They go up to here and then back to here. They're pretty much all, most of them are going to have the similar articulation. And then we have some foot action right here, and front and back. And yes, I heated these up because these were really stiff. So, what do I have to say for the negatives before we get into? Look at his knees. His knees are made of a different plastic, and maybe the knees are what's shredding. But first off, it doesn't match the color of the box. Again, another problem with plastic-free packaging. It's a darker green than a lighter green. Would you have wanted the lighter green? I don't know. But then the knee, it's a different type of plastic and a different color. So just look at that. The knee is a different color. different color of green. It doesn't match this, and it doesn't match the other parts of the leg. So that was like kind of frustrating. Getting you're expecting to get that figure with those exact colors because that's the picture, but you get this one, which is darker greens. I'm not upset about it or anything, but it's just it's a frustrating thing with the packaging. So with that all the way, let's go ahead and look at his accessories. I think this bow is great. It's probably how I'm going to display them. And you saw that on there. This energy bow is all one piece. I felt it should have been a clip-on, additional clip-on, so that you can clip it onto the bow that already exists. And now we're going to do some crazy nonsense here to try to make it look like he's shooting this. That's sort of a pose you can do with him with the energy bow and 8-sided die. And there's a piece of green plastic sheared off that's on my review. Well, it's gone now forever, but so it's good and bad. I like it. I'm glad I've got it, but you got to be super careful with these figures. They are not built to last. Okay, next up I have Diana, and so the articulation on Diana is very similar to the articulation that we got with the previous Hank figure. Now, looking at her, she looks fantastic. I mean, her head sculpt is really nice and looks a lot like the cartoon. Some people have pointed out, and I agree, that her skin tone is a little too light. It should have been a little darker to match the animation a little bit better. So, you know, it's another one of those things that she doesn't really truly match the artwork either. And her knees are really way off. And I mean, I don't even think that the knees match either the articulation or the artwork, the animation or the artwork. So that's kind of an issue there. So anyway, we got some paint up here, and her eyes look pretty good, actually. Very relatively tune accurate. And then we got paint on this gold here, which is nice. And then she has rotation right here instead of just at the waist, or probably not at the waist at all. So it's just right here so that she can get these acrobatic poses, I guess. And then she's got this little loincloth going on down here. Same leg articulation, all that kind of stuff that we got with Hank. And so there's enough articulation to get a decent pose, but nothing like you're seeing with some other lines. And seeing as how we got double jointed knees, but not double jointed elbows. I'm not really upset about not having the double jointed elbows because of the fact that, well, these feel like they're going to break. They're real small joints, real small arm on her, of course. And so it does feel like it's going to break. Other people have broken some of theirs, so I've been extra super careful. Lucky for me, I got to see other people break it and heed the warning. Did heat her up all the way. Do have two because Hasbro sent me her instead of Hank, but then they made up for it, so definitely. I think she's a great figure. She has a 20-sided die. She works really well. Let's get on to the next one. So we have Bobby and Uni, and so I do want to say a few things about this. First of all, Bobby has a lot of issues. Mine originally didn't come with a 12-sided die. Now, I did open a brand new one up that they sent me, but I'm leaving it all like in the, what do you call that? The wax paper. So still new in the wax paper. But I had just a slew of issues with this little guy. First off, if you look at his leg, it's like cockeyed. Like this goes straight down. This one goes here and then curves. Now I heated it up and tried to bend it and it didn't work. And I was like, well, maybe I've got two right feet instead of a left foot. So I looked and they look correct foot. So I don't know why it's just at a weird cocky angle like that. That's strange. The other thing is I had him for about a week or 2 weeks holding his club, and it spread his hand out to where he really couldn't hold the club anymore. So I'm just going to barely set the club in there and rest the club so not to stretch his hand all way out. So that's how I'm going to do that from now on. But looking at him, he looks pretty cool. He's got like a Viking helmet, and his hair's down front underneath there. And looking at let's get this up a little bit more. You can see the animation right there, so it does look like it matches the animation pretty good. I mean, he's got a different expression on his face than the animation. But it does show him with his kind of this pose, which you sort of can do it without the double jointed elbow. He does have pretty much the same articulation as the rest of them, ball jointed at the waist. This is an extra piece right here. Now I did, move that up, whoosh, heated his up and pushed this down. And I might do that because this doesn't truly cover, but I didn't well, I've heated this guy up really good, but I didn't heat him up just now before I did this, but add a little heat to it and push that down. That's memory heat, like muscle memory. This is heat memory. I remember being heated. Just I'll form to it for you. So let's get down here back into range. So with his legs and all that kind of stuff, looking at his knee when it moves, it just looks strange. Like I feel like I got two knee joints in there, or a knee joint's pulling out or something. I don't know. That looks weird. I don't mind though, because I think he looks really great. And I got a little tidbit for you when we're done with this though. This side to side, you can pop these off. Now you could when it was hot. You can pop these off. So I was trying to figure out for the life of me how to make it work right. And so maybe this is supposed to be, I don't know what's going on with this, to tell you the truth. Pop it back on. Oh, without breaking the leg. Whew. All right, now stability issues aside, he's a nice looking figure. He does fit the bill. Here's the back of him. He does look pretty good. And now let's get on to Uni, and let's get him standing. Barely slide that in there. So kind of put it behind his head, and then move his feet just a little bit to counterbalance him. Now we've got Uni the unicorn, and so with that ball jointed head, some purplish pinkish eyes and some painted hair, got the unicorn horn, got the tail, no articulation. So here's how I feel like they should have put some articulation on her, but I feel like the more articulation we get, the more problems we're going to have with, I don't know if it's the materials they use or what. So I'm okay with the statue, but I would have liked some articulation with it the more I think about it. But it's not a bad figure. It's not a bad add-in, and it adds, this little set here, 5 ounces. Adds quite a bit of weight to it. But Bobby and Uni, a pretty good set, and they're short packed. So there's 3 Hanks, 3 Dianas, and only 2 of this set per case. We have to spread all this out to get all this into frame, but we have Venger and the Dragon Dungeon Master. So with this, I got the dies mixed up, and he's got more accessories. Let's get into Dungeon Master first. So this is what is this? A crazy amount of numbers die. Is it 20? Or 18, 19? Is it a 20 side die? It's just huge. It's a huge die. And that makes sense. Now, let's look at him real quick. I did pop the wings on in my unboxing video with these guys. His head does kind of move side to side. He has this overlay here, and then underneath that he's got torso articulation, which moves him and his wings. His arms are articulated about like the rest of them, and I think, let's see, no, his forearms don't move, his hands move, and his hands are pretty good because they're bigger, they're thicker, and you're getting more into kind of just standard what Hasbro's used to making this scale, this size. I don't really think these are true 1/12 scale 6-inch figures, so that's kind of an issue there. With this fist, can he make like a, I didn't heat this one up because he was working so good with just rocking it back and forth, but maybe now that I think about it, I should have. You just pop it off like that. Yeah, so his wrist joint is seized up. I will have to heat that up. But you can pop on the other flame effect hand. So it's a whole flame in a hand instead of just letting them hold a flame. I'm not sure if that's a good way to do it or a bad way to do it, but it's how they did it. So looks like it's slightly transparent too. Anyway, he can shoot all the stuff out of his hands and however he wants to do it. There we go. Now, some people do like to complain about a side eye. He does have side eye. And he has a little buck tooth, kind of like in the show. Yeah, those are vampire teeth. Now, he's got this giant dress he wears. I'm not sure exactly what it's called. And he does have articulation down here, which is pretty similar to, he's got a thigh swivel. Pretty similar to what you see with pretty much all the modern lines now. So this is kind of up to standard with most of the articulation with the modern line. But you can't really use it because the skirt really, it holds them up pretty good. I would have preferred a cloth skirt or whatever you call that, kilts, I don't know, but There he is. Pretty good looking figure. The wing's already plugged in. He's got a slit right there. Don't be looking up his skirt. And I think he looks good. He's going to look great on display. Not very functional, though. Get into Dungeon Master DM himself. He's got small die here. It's like a die by 10, starting with 0, and it goes in 10s. So that's what it's all about. And so with this, I didn't heat him up at all either. His arms move okay. It looks like he's got like some sort of a like flower on him or something. Maybe a mold release on him. And then his hands move. He has like a gold bracelet in there that does not move with his hand. And his hands go kind of in and out, which I didn't heat it up, but I can get a little in and out with them. And one of the things I showed in another video is I just kind of rock them. And if I can gently rock them and then they give, then it's good. If not, it gets heat. So that's kind of how I go, because I don't want to break anything. He's got hair in the back. It's all connected to the head that barely moves because of his giant hair. But he looks good. He looks exactly the part. I mean, and there's his picture. And so he looks really good. He looks the part. No real accessories other than his die. And he's just really super short. But it fits and it works. And we're going to get 3 more. These guys also came with a really nice background that kind of shows the ride and the world, the whole kind of circus event that was going on back then. There's a castle going on over here, which is pretty cool. So this is a whole lot of fun. This whole setup and backdrop, I like that they have it, but the way I'm going to display mine, I probably don't have room for the whole thing on my shelf. I'm going to have just like a small little cluster group of them. But I'm glad that they included it. It's pretty cool. It's part of the $50 for the set. Okay, so here's how they sort of scale with regular LJN figures. So I just kind of grabbed some that were easy to grab. This Bobby's short. He's like the shortest one, and well, Dungeon Master is. And so this is Bowmark, which is about an average size. So it's like the mid-range. I didn't grab the smallest because none of these match up. Maybe Dungeon Master. Then Ogre King, I think, is the tallest. Ogre King and Young Male Titan are the 2 tallest that I believe in the whole toy line. And they're not quite as tall as, say, Hank. So can you integrate them with this? Yeah, I don't see why not. But there's going to be reaction figures coming soon. That's going to get mixed results. Okay, so in case you're wondering, how do they scale with NECA, since NECA is making these at the same time, they are a much different aesthetic. They are a much different scale than NECA's. And so with that, Bobby, don't follow me to get a good look at these guys. They don't really mesh well. First off, these are shorter than the 6-inch scale. They just are. They're not like, well, I guess he fits with the Han Solo there. So they're about, some of them are shorter than 6-inch. This is a 7-inch plus Grimsword. He's huge. I don't have Warduke yet, so that's just how it looks. And the aesthetic's way different. This is going cartoon. That's going super real world look, gritty and all that. So just figured I'd show it. So who are the 3 characters we're going to be getting? Well, of course, we're going to be getting Eric, and we're going to get Presto, and we're going to get Sheila, the thief. And so those will be up for pre-order on Wednesday. Now, that's according to T&I News. Toy News International, JC, is the one that was saying this. So I'm assuming you can get it at Target and Hasbro Pulse right away, and then probably everywhere else. And you want to complete the set. Now, I say if you're in on this, get it. I know a lot of people are waiting for a clearance or a sell, but I haven't seen the figures in the stores yet at all in my area. Now, a lot of places have, and I know that. But I'm wondering how many of these they make. I think they're going to make a ton of the movie figures. I don't know if they're going to make a ton of these. And they're moving on to Wave 2 already. And will there be a Wave 3? There's a lot of questions to ask. So anyway, I'm excited to get this team finished. And I'm going to pre-order it Wednesday. So this is my review of the Dungeons & Dragons cartoon animation accurate sort of figures. I really am happy that these are made. They're not the best quality. They have their issues. Everyone knows I've had issues. But overall, nothing's broken on the ones that I've gotten, other than the fact that some stuff was missing or the wrong figure. And they look fantastic. Just look at this group. Look at this team. and we don't even have the rest of them. So the other three, the Sheila, the Eric, and the Presto, we'll get a proper Presto finally. That is coming in wave 2. Pre-order those come up in about a week on Wednesday. So about a week, a little less than a week from now. And I want to know from you, are you picking these up? Are you passing on these? Did you pick some up and not like them? Did you pick them up and like them more than you thought? And are you pre-ordering wave 2? And do you want a wave 3? Like and subscribe to Venger out.